Welcome to the University of the Bahamas. We now have Ms. Pinder. We will now have Ms. Pinder from the SBDC to introduce you to our new program, Entrepreneur Speaks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Entrepreneur Speak, an exciting session where we dive into the world of entrepreneurship and hear firsthand from trailblazers who have turned their ideas into successful businesses. I'd like to introduce our presenters this evening. Asante Small is a dynamic leader known for her big ideas and dedication. In 2024, she focused on mental health, youth empowerment, and women's advancement, co-chairing ASI Omega Scholarship Program and awarding over $250,000 in scholarships. She launched the Nourish Her podcast, led initiatives like Project Care for dialysis patients, and advocated for women's mental health. Asante also co-manages the annual Back to School initiative with her husband, Chef Corey Small, providing over 300 backpacks to end of summer. With 14 years of experience as a creative strategist, she has successfully led marketing campaigns for diverse sectors. Career highlights include Deputy Director of Communications at the Public Hospitals Authority and Creative Director for the 50th National Independence Celebrations. Alongside her professional pursuits, Asante co-manages the creative culinary team at Oasis Bar and Bistro with Chef Corey Small, merging innovation and commitment to offer exceptional culinary experiences. Asante's creativity, resilience, and commitment drive her to empower others and make a lasting impact. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Asante Small.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It is truly my pleasure to be here with you. I might use this mic. This one right there. Can I move it? All right. It is my pleasure to be here with you. I have the privilege of being your first in this series of Entrepreneur Speak. And it's truly my pleasure to be here with you because it is amazing to be able to talk to people at a stage in which I wish I had the opportunity, because for most of the time that I've owned a business, I've been winging it. So I know a lot of times when people think about entrepreneurship, they think that you always have to have it together. I don't. They think you have it all figured out. I definitely don't. But I think what it is that you have an opportunity to learn from people like myself, learn from my mistakes, and do better and be better. So today I was given the topic of how do you build a business that makes a difference. And so right away I thought of the saying, and I'm sure you've heard it. How do you eat an elephant? Anyone knows the answer? One small bite at a time. And so for me, how do you build a business that makes a difference? And that is one brick at a time. So brick by brick is really the direction of today and how I tell my story of how I got here, how we built the Bush Cook, and then how we built Oasis and all the other fun things I get to do on a day in and day out basis. And the very first part of building that wall, building that business is to reflect on what is building your foundation. And so a lot of times when people think about a business, they first assess what is their purpose. What is their purpose in life? If you believe in God like I do, what is the plan that God has for me? What is the thing that He really set out for me to do in the time that I'm here on earth? And then for those who just believe in setting out the vision and writing out what it is that they're set out to do, they make a vision for themselves. So for me, in my vision, that's financial independence. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, because I make enough money to do that. I'm not there yet. But it's definitely a part of the journey. And so it's very important that as you lay out your plan, that you yourself look at the vision, not just for your company, but for yourself. And then you start to build that foundation off of other things, such as core values and ethics. What do you believe? How do you stand on integrity? Where does your day-to-day operations as a human being, do you have empathy? Do you have compassion for others? Do you yourself want to make a difference? And then as that grows and develops, or what have you, one of the main things for me is your experience. And so for me, I think all of my life, I knew that I was going to own a business someday because I had a family that owned a business. And so we had Blue Moon Center Bar on Matthew Street. We still do. The business is over 80 years old. It was physically built by my great-grandmother. She had this idea, this vision, that she wanted to ensure that however long that she could, she wanted to ensure that her daughter, my grandmother, would always be financially stable. And for her, that was a little ice cream shop that she had this vision for, and she built this little shop added to their home on Mackey Street. And through the years, from my great-grandfather, and then as my grandmother inherited, and as we've inherited today, this business became the cornerstone for all of us. Automatically, whether it was a project in grade 3, or my BJC coursework, or my BGCSE coursework, I always knew that entrepreneurship was just in my blood. But what you come to realize is that entrepreneurship, as much as I think it's in my DNA, it was actually in the way that I was conditioned to think and believe. So in between errands and up and down my grandmother in a truck, stopping and buying stuff for the shop, as we would say, I learned how to do business. I learned how to interact with vendors. I understood how to run payroll and how to do those different things, how to negotiate, and how to handle life's way when it comes, when things are tight. I also learned straight right away at a counter that I barely could have seen over. I stood on boxes sometimes, and I learned customer service. I understood how to stand your ground and how to set boundaries. And so what I realized is that what are you doing today that's influencing your entrepreneurship journey? You might not be in the position to start your business now, but there are things day in and day out that are training you, that are pruning you for the journey ahead. So it's very important for you to be open-minded and have your eyes wide open to the experiences that you have today that are influencing the entrepreneur you'll be tomorrow, or 5 years or 10 years from now. And so that was me when I was about, like I said, all my life. So 6 years old, straight up. And then at the age of 23, 24 it was, I met this guy one day, and he was bubbly and handsome, and I was so excited to meet him. And we started dating, and he had this love and passion for all things food. And so his dream at the time as a chef was to own a catering business, and this one cafe that was called Flavors Cafe, that was supposed to be a 20-seater. And I was like, all right, I'm in marketing. I'll make this happen with you. This is so exciting. So when we got started, we started taking on catering gigs and all these different things. And when my grandmother passed, the kitchen became available. So I said, babe, we need a kitchen. We're renting out kitchens, trying to find space. At some different points, sometimes it used to be in his mom's house. I got about 300 plates trying to make it happen, right? And so we needed a kitchen. And so we had this idea of just having a takeaway, and that we would just own this takeaway, daytime, run breakfast, no big deal, nothing think of it. But in the evening, we'll do the catering stuff. Well, what you will learn about our journey is that for some reason, and even to this day, we underestimate the power of our partnership and the power of prayer. And so around the table, we came up with this name, the Bush Cook. It was a nickname that he had when he was coming up in his chef training days. And what we realized is the day that we opened, we just never stopped being busy. The problem with that is we never had a plan to be busy. And so along life's way, as we were building this business and having this whole grand idea, and everybody thinks we have this big idea, all we had was the passion for food and the ability to work together, me in marketing and him in the kitchen. Even though he always tells people that he's never seen anyone go to school for marketing and end up with a culinary degree, because I swear I should be in charge of the kitchen. Nonetheless, we've had all of our days, and we moved from Mackey Street to Boyd Road and all these different things. And I remember when we started to get very bored at doing this thing called food, because you get tired of saying chicken and peas and rice and macaroni and the burger. And we started to have fun. We got inside, we got around the table, I'm sure, around one prep table one night. And I said, man, listen, unlike all my clients and at work where I have to ask permission to do things, I don't have to ask permission to do this thing. And I think we kicked it off with Sisters Here Man Plate. And I think half of the people in this room is too young to know about that special. But that special sparked something in us in which we got to have fun with food. We got to change how people think about food. And beyond the amount of parsley that Corey loved to use, we did something different. And so every time something happened in this country, you would see a Bush Cup special. And so whether it was Junkanoo, boy, I really miss, we would have fun with the Bali, right? We had the whole Junkanoo, we had politics, we had election burgers, we had big moments, we had small moments. We definitely got to celebrate with new specials, new burgers, and all that good stuff. And for me, it was just the freedom. It was the creative freedom. It was the fact that I didn't have to ask permission. It's the fact that at midnight I could call up my graphic artist, who was one of the best in the country, and I could come up with this random idea, and we would just run with it. It made doing what we did fun. Even when we weren't doing well in business, even when we weren't getting it right, it just gave us something to look forward to just as much as our customers did. And as I was thinking about all of this, and we talk about our journey, and we talk about our journey to business, and talk about Bushcook, and as we grow, and I'm going to share more about how we've grown as a food company. I think it's very important. I saw this quote by Will Smith that said, "I don't have to build a perfect wall. I just have to lay a perfect brick today." And a lot of times when we get excited about entrepreneurship, it's great to have the vision, but every day, think about that small step that you can make that can make a difference for your business. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to be able to do all these amazing things on the first go. But every day, commit yourself to be better, to build brick by brick a better business. And again, like I shared, we keep underestimating. And so I'll tell you the journey of how we got to Oasis in 2023. And we were just like, we're tired again, just being bored, random. Though we've always had the vision and these ideas for us to own other businesses, we just was not in the market at the time for a new restaurant. We just wanted a new location for the Bushcook. We went to Palmdale, and as we toured Palmdale, we were like, oh, this definitely works, but it's not for the Bushcook. And so we sat with it, we came up with a plan, we went to church, and in church we got the name. We laid out the plan, and again, we had this completely different vision. Our plan was run lunch service. In the night, Palmdale is dead. If you've ever been in Palmdale and Marquis Street area, everybody who heard us was like, oh, what y'all gonna do after 5 when nobody's around? Y'all didn't make no money in the night. It's like, okay, no problem, we'll just rent it out in the evening and stuff. But child, I guess we underestimated the power of our partnership and prayer. So here we have again, building brick by brick. We opened Oasis Palmdale, and it's not stopped growing. It's exceeded our expectations every single week, twist or turn. So what started off, it was me in the front, even though I had a full-time job. Me in the front, Corey had 3 cooks in the back. I think we hired two waiters. And as of today, Oasis has almost 70 employees. I have no idea how we got here, right? But we're getting there, right? And you literally are watching this thing build brick by brick by brick. And what you realize is that all it took, and I had this conversation just 24 hours ago, there would be no Oasis if there wasn't a Bushcook. Bushcook helped us get exactly where we are today. When you are at that takeout window and someone's screaming at you that your food is not ready on time, you learn how to have some tough skin. When people are on social media giving you bad reviews, you truly understand resilience. When you are trying to figure it out as a 25-year-old business owner, your 35-year-old self looks back and says, this is how you learn patience. This is how you learn how to be kind even when people weren't kind to you. This is how you learn how to keep growing and being innovative, even when it looks bleak and when trends look completely different. I always remember telling you the amount of people that told us not to open Oasis, that told us that this is not the market or the time to open a restaurant. I mean, they were wrong. But we enjoy the fact that we just keep growing. I'm not at a place yet where I can sit back and enjoy all of the fruits of my labor. But I truly could look back and say the bricks that I'm building are starting to take shape. With each day that I get up and I get to work and I balance that with Oasis, I realize that it's truly important that as you build your business and you brick by brick build this wall or this brand or whatever it is that you're doing, you cannot do it alone. A lot of times when people look at us, I cannot imagine. I have a few friends that's in the food business, and I cannot imagine doing this thing without Corey. As much as we buck heads, we love each other, but boy, is it rough. I won't, everybody can't take it. With husband and wife in business together, but I could not imagine doing this without him, and doing this without our team. I want you to understand that you cannot build it alone. No matter how you may feel, oh, I'm so independent, I got this, I got myself. You do not build a business alone. You need help. You need vendors. You need collaborators. You need partners. You cannot build a wall by yourself. It will not stand the same. It will not be built the same. You have to get help. You have to know when you need help, and you have to value the help when it is provided. And not just that, we also have created a community. I tell people all the time, when people say Bahamians don't support Bahamians, I cannot relate. I have not built a business that's been tourists or foreigners. It's been Bahamians, everyday Bahamians that believe in us enough to give us a try. My doors have been open in the midst of COVID because Bahamians gave us a try. And so don't just think about the business that you're building. Think about the community that you are building as well. The network that needs you, that needs your product, your service, whatever it is, but your community is waiting for you and they will support you no matter what is happening. And I am a testament of that. And so as we continue to build, I want you to also consider, as you build your business, you have to allow the business to build you. I can tell you now, as I look back again, this is 10 years in, and I really believe that the growth of this business is because we keep growing. A lot of times when people tap out or they close their business down, it's because somewhere along the way, they lost sight of the vision or they stopped growing. Your business could grow, but if you're not growing, it's going to stall off. It's not going to be successful. And so what does that mean? That means that 10 years ago, 9 years ago, was I the best boss? Probably not. But every day I'm getting better and better and better at it. That requires me to keep studying, keep learning, keep evolving. Never saying, okay, I was a good boss yesterday, yeah, but I need you to be better tomorrow. When it comes to your finances, again, when it was just me and Corey, he'll always tell the story of how we didn't even have a cash register our first day at Bush Cup. We had an El Cuno box because our cash register wasn't there yet. A little cigar box with some change in it. And so when you're there and you get frustrated now when your POS is down and stuff like that, but I remember the days where we used to be right in that cigar box. And so brick by brick, you continue to build the business. When it was just me trying to figure out payroll, to me having a full-on accountant, having a payroll team, it's just evolving, but we had to take the steps to get there. I also want to encourage you to never stop learning, like no matter what. There's always free resources available to you. There's also people available to you. Whenever people reach out to me and say, hey, I want to start a business, I try to list off as much of my failures as possible so they can skip that part. Even in the failures, you get to grow and learn. I don't want you to make my failures. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. Learn from me. Start some stuff early. Get that accountant early. Get that HR consultant early. It might not mean that that person is full-time with you, but that guidance is necessary because, again, you can't do this alone. One of the biggest lessons I've learned, and I think that makes me stand out and makes me continue to be successful and my husband successful in our businesses, is that we accept the fact that we don't know it all and we cannot do it all. We understand what our strengths are. We come to the table, this is what I bring to the table, this is what he brings to the table, and we figure out who else we need to bring to the table to make it make sense. Again, you cannot build the wall alone. The final thing for me is, and as I reflected on this whole building a business, and I think about, again, my family's business that's existed for 80 years, and I think about our business and how we wanted it to exist for 80 years for our children and our grandchildren to at least realize and bask in its success. I realize that what makes a difference is your mindset. And it's the fact that you have to appreciate that your wall is the foundation for someone else. The very thing that you're building today is inspiring someone else. It is igniting a dream in someone else. It's showing someone else that they can do it. It is your reminder, and for years to come, it is a reminder that if the wall has been built, it can be built again. And so I want to encourage you that whatever it is that's on your heart, your mind, your vision board to build, I want to encourage you to remember that someone else is going to witness this. And because of you, they will start building their bricks, building their wall brick by brick. I want to encourage you that you must ensure that your core values and your ethics ensure that your wall is stable and sturdy. There's nothing like running a business and not having integrity. There's nothing like building a business but you don't want to work hard. I don't know how to tell you this, but you're going to work hard. You're just going to have to work smart as well. Don't think that entrepreneurship is the easy way out. You go from having one boss to thousands. There are 1,000 people reviewing you every day. There's thousands of people judging you. There's thousands of people choosing whether or not to support you. So I want to encourage you to build well, build strong, and ensure that when you build, build with someone else, because we must build together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tia Sante. Let's give her one more round of applause. At this time, we'd like to ask the audience if you have any questions to ask our speaker. All right, please send your questions, and I'll come to you with the mic.
My question is, how do you balance it all? Life, social life, working full time, and running a business?
I don't balance life. I do one task at a time. My mind works very segmented. So I have a to-do list, and I make my categories of what I need to do. And when I'm working on, whether it's the business stuff, that's what I'm focused on in that hour. When I'm working on my 9 to 5 stuff, that's the designated time. When I'm working on sorority stuff, that's that designated time. And when it's my time, it's my time. And when it's my husband's time, it's my husband's time. So I'm very intentional. And I'm very much a planner as well. So what I try to do is I try to time myself. I set my own deadlines for things. I try to outsource as well where I might struggle. So there are things and specific tasks that I do not manage well. I don't do well. That's usually peopling. I'm very good with people, but when you get to the 20th customer, I'm low. So I really try to make sure my team is in place for that, so it keeps my energy where it needs to be, so I'm always able to do that. I'm also very self-aware. So I'm very aware when I'm drained. I'm very aware when I'm tired. And when my body says sleep, I sleep. And then I figure it out tomorrow. So I think it's just being honest with yourself and intentional. And I also believe I'm just graced for what I have, because that's what I'm called to do in this season.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rakitra. You're very gorgeous. I have one question. When did you start your business, and how long did it take for you to see some type of progress towards it, like a milestone accomplished?
All right, so we started the Bush Cook in 2016. We were in business with each other from 2014. I think it just depends on how you define milestones. So I remember, it just depends. So it's not really money. It's been things like getting an event right for a client and not being stressed about it, or when we bought our first cash register instead of a cigar box. So things like that. And even now, when you buy your brand new stove versus secondhand, those are some of the milestones. I get excited when my team could run a function without me being there. I get excited when they can run a shift without me being there. So those are some of my benchmarks, which isn't usually the standard benchmark, but my businesses are like my babies. So the little small steps I get excited about.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful presentation.
No problem, thank you.
Good evening. Okay, so I'm also a business owner, and I was challenged with something. So we started our business in 2019, and then I was approached by the Ocean Club. I was invited to a meeting, and they wanted me to market in their brochure. So the business is, there's two. One is dealing with the pigs, the pearls, and the yachting and luxury chartering. Just you and your family, just you and your group. And they wanted me to market with them. But when I looked at the reviews for the company that's connected with them, on Google, it was only at a 2.6. But my reviews was way up there. And I was like, what? They got to bring those reviews up. So I read through them over years. And then I got another offer to market in it says what to do in Nassau and Paradise Island. So I went with the cheaper one because they print 10,000 copies twice a year. My question is this. What do I look for in the future if you know about marketing now? What should have been the main key point that I look for? Because what I had to appreciate is that they may not have had the huge volume, but their clientele and who they were serving, they heavy.
No, I get you.
Right. And whereas with the other thing, you had more of a volume, but not really heavy spenders. but I get to be on the cruise port, the airport with that. What are you doing now? So not like that. Do you have any tips about what to look up for in the future when I do want to do marketing for the business?
Sure, no problem. So there's a couple things you have to take into consideration. So target audience is always number one, right? You have to know who your audience is. Now it's very easy. A lot of people try to say everyone is your customer, but that's not true. And so you need to get down to the nitty gritty of your target audience. So what I mean is not just who they are, but what they're spending. And then you within yourself, and this is where my influences from a business standpoint, not just marketing, you need to understand your volume. So what I mean is that, okay, I can market to 50,000 people. I only can make 500 burgers. You see what I'm saying? So you have to look at which of those entities is going to give you the reach, but also the return that matches your operations. So marketing to 10,000 people is fine, but if your return is only 100, that may not work for you. Versus you might have someone who has you marketing to 1,000, but they give you 200 return. So you have to look at the call to action. You have to look at the return. How are they driving that traffic directly to you? Not just set it and forget it, which is a lot of marketing tools today. So yeah, you're out there, but what is the return? And so that's very important. And then I would also say you have to gauge your price, whatever you're investing, with the return as well. So for me, sometimes when I look at my marketing budget, it should always be 10% of what my expected income is. That's been my goal. And that's very on the high end, regardless. But I've always spent good money on social media and other advertisement because I think about what I make in a day. So 10% of that is usually my budget. And I know that if I keep marketing well, I should be making my money back. So I shouldn't be driven by what is most expensive or what is least expensive. I should be driven by the results. And so you have to give yourself time as well to test the market. I always say give any advertising platform at least 3 months because the first month is getting it wet. The second one is like, all right, cool, we're getting in the groove. And by the third one, you should be seeing results. Whether it's social media, whether it's on TV, whether it's whatever new platform you're trying, even in print or digital. 3 months is usually, but I would never lock into like a 6 months to a year. So at least you get to check in, see if it's working, if it's making sense, and then reset if necessary. Does that help?
Thank you so much. We have 3 questions lined up.
I have a question. What's the best advice you would give to someone who has the same dreams and goals you have?
In terms of restaurant?
Yeah, but I'm actually a cook.
Okay.
And I had a business for 4 years ago, but I had some challenges.
Okay.
And I just want to know some advice you could give.
Sure. So I love and I welcome more food businesses in the space, right? And so I want to encourage you firstly is that you have to find good culinary mentors. I think that's what separates my husband from others. I think he's always been around great chefs and great restaurant owners. And so I think that has given him insight. So what I mean is that when you're working with another chef, don't just think about I clock in, I clock out. Learn from that chef. Learn about inventory, the decisions they make on the back end. Like, that may mean you come in to work a little hour earlier or stay back an hour later, but they share information that they wouldn't necessarily speak out in the public on a regular day. So mentorship is very important. The second thing is start small. Like, we started small. We started off, Corey used to do grill pit at the rugby field. We used to do catering gigs when he used to work full time, so in the evening or whatever he had available. And when you start small, always assess yourself constantly. So what I mean is, when you have a catering gig, you don't just say, okay, I make money, that's it. No, what did I get right? What I need to improve on? What do I keep doing? What do I need to fix? And so those are the opportunities for you to keep getting it right and keep getting better. I also recommend the events work well. We used to do a lot of events around the country, but in that, so I should say, that really gave us an opportunity to test our product, test out menu, our options and stuff like that. So the fairs and those type of things. But keep it small again. We were really good at that because sometimes an event you could waste as well. But I really just encourage mentorship, that guidance, the right mentors now. The right guidance really makes a difference in this business. And so for me, I've been blessed. Corey's been blessed. So we have people that are willingly and freely poured into us. And by all means, hit up Chef Corey Small. He'll be happy to talk to you. Right, Jack?
Hi, good evening. I'm not really a business person, but I do attend to assist people with importing of vehicles and assisting people with passport renewals and visa applications. So,
That's business work.
yeah, but I don't really put it all in the forefront. I'm just starting now. However, what have been your most significant failures and what did you learn from them?
Oh boy.
I am not our. Oh boy. It's been a lot. Like I just had this conversation. We feel daily. Like, you know, like we feel daily. We just having this conversation. We just had this conversation when we were promoting the event for tonight. And the conversation is that I fail daily. Like I can't even pinpoint one thing to you. What I mean is, so from a culinary standpoint, you're not gonna please everyone. And so I know that in any given night, as much as my team may try, a steak might be undercooked or overcooked. Stuff might not have been seasoned the way that you like. And so it happens every day. What I think I decided to do in that space is give myself grace. In my marketing work, I've not followed through all the time. I've probably missed a client's deadline. And I think, again, grace. And one of my mentors will always tell me that you under-promise and over-deliver. So I'll share that lesson with you based on the type of business you're in. So what we tend to do with customers and our clients is we oversell and we hype ourselves up. And so we say, oh, I get it to you in 24 hours. And then God forbid, current cut off, flat tire, something happened. And now you want 36 hours, 48 hours, now they're disappointed. My mentor would always tell me, what is the timeline that you could get this done? 5 days? You tell your customer 7. Okay. So now when you deliver in 5 days, you look like you're on top of it. But if you have a little delay, you've now given yourself a window to do some things. So I would say in all of that, and based on your business and what you're getting yourself into, my advice to you is under promise, keep it very realistic, and then over deliver. Wow them with the other stuff.
All right, and our last question.
Good evening, everyone. My question tonight is, where do you see the business in the next 5 years? Example, like how the Titans group expand. Do you plan on branching out?
So yeah, listen, I'm very big-eyed, right? And in the restaurant field, it's not that many Bahamian-owned restaurants, groups, or what have you. It's really only the Pinders with Bamboo Shack and Salvador and those. And so at one point we wanted multiple locations of the Bistro. We've completely revamped our focus, but we will be owning multiple restaurants and experiences. I have a spreadsheet. My husband always tells people about my spreadsheet that I showed him 6 months into dating. Of things that, no, I just big-eyed it. Like, I really, every day there's a new idea that comes up. Now, I won't accomplish everything on the list, but I do believe that it's my right and my expectation that I could dream and I could try. And so because of Oasis, I just had this conversation with my best friend. As crazy as it is, as hectic as it is, I can't wait for the next thing. Like, I really can't wait. So we're going back in Palmdale in a couple months. Renovations are starting. I'm really excited for that new brand. I have a couple other ideas that's floating around. And because we own Oasis and how Oasis has grown now on East Bay, I'm more ready to open anything else because it's bigger. So it's already, like, I've already rules broken. You done figure it all out. You now have an idea of how to set up the next thing. So what you will learn, and I want to encourage everyone, once you figure out the first business, opening the second, third one is easier. It's so much easier. I remember the first time, like I remember every time we did something new with Bush Cup, and I was beat, like bad. But when it came to Oasis, as crazy as men, I'm like, all right, cool, we'll be back tomorrow. It's just completely different. And so it's okay to keep growing, and we definitely will be growing. Is that it? Oh, I do have a question. I can take it, if that's okay. Okay.
Hi, good evening. So my question was, how do you stay focused on your business idea without deterring or losing faith in your business? In the beginning, at least.
So, I think it's just about who's around you and who's influencing you. So again, my husband is very black and white. He's no gray area. He is not he loves my big ideas, but he will small, like, hey, what's the first step? Quick. So I think he is my cooler, my calm, my center. Don't tell him that, but that's what I'm saying, right? So he keeps me grounded, because if you allow me, I'll run with it every time. I also think it's about communicating your vision to your team members. So again, we have our HR and operations manager, Valdez. She's amazing. So she keeps us focused. Hey, this is what we're working on now. We have our kitchen leads, our bar leads. Every area, every department has some type of leadership, and so we have to communicate and make sure that trickles down. And so when I'm giving assignments, I be very clear on my vision, and that helps me stay focused. The reason I'm not lost faith, I think, is because of responsibility. One of the things I pride myself on is that for 10 years, I've been about to go to my staff and be like, oh, we don't have your payroll. And in Bahamian business, supposedly that's a really big deal. And so I pride myself on that. And that comes with a lot of sacrifice. But I'll never do anything to jeopardize those people's idea. Like, I will not. And so a lot of decisions we make is because I always go back to, hey, we could risk a lot, we could take chances, but not this space. At no point do I want to be in a position where I have to go to my employees and say something different than what I've committed myself to do. And that has been a guiding force for us in the past 10 years. Sure, more questions?
Thank you so much. Let's give our speaker. Let's see something small and then I'll let you know. Now, by show of hands, how many of you gained some valuable inspiration and insight this evening? You know, I expected to see more hands. I am very inspired personally. Now, before we close, we would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for joining us here this evening for our first Entrepreneurs Speak. So give yourselves a round of applause. The Small Business Development Center, in collaboration with the University of Bahamas, is very happy to be here this evening and to continue this series throughout the rest of the year. So we do hope to see you at the remaining sessions. So is everybody excited for that? Awesome. So what I do want to encourage everybody to do is to stay connected with the Small Business Development Center. You can find us on our social medias, that's Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at SBDC Bahamas, and our website, sbdcbahamas.com. Now, as we come to the close, I'd like to encourage you to look at your neighbor, ask them about entrepreneurship, network with one another, speak to the people in the room, because you never know who you're sitting next to. Go ahead. And as you network with that person, make sure you get their names, get their contact information. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
I was an electrician for 18 years, and one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere, and here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we're looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
I am a master plumber by profession. I've been doing plumbing for over 40 odd years. When I was 9 months old, I was diagnosed with polio. To me, living with polio, I took it the way it is. I never allowed my polio to get in my way of anything. In fact, I love when people doubt me, and I just prove them wrong. And let me tell you, in the world, you could only find a plumber as good as me, but you ain't gonna find no plumber better than me. People with disability, they just need a chance. In this program, I feel so encouraged. Most of the mentors have different kind of disability, but disabilities like me. Sharing and caring and showing so much support with people with disability. They would encourage you to go beyond. I wish this was around a long time ago. Right now, I would have been a millionaire. You out there who have a disability, don't be afraid. Take the step. If you believe it, you could achieve it. And remember one thing, ain't no one better than me, and ain't no one better than y'all. God made all us equal.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit SBDCBahamas.com.
My name is Omar Ferguson. I've been disabled now from 2009. What inspired me to start my own business? It was the determination to know that I still had something left in me, even though a lot of my independence, my mobility was being restricted. In my disability, it's kind of hard finding the investors or the capital. For example, national insurance. The benefit that we receive, it's a lifeline. And in any business that you're going to take, it's going to be a risk. We're not looking for handouts, but we want you to understand that we still need a little special care. This literally gives us a backbone that, hey, we could actually stand someday. This the business I know it's going to be a risk. Even going through that process, I'm still dependent on national insurance. Overall, being in the program itself, it's put me in a place where I feel young again. I feel like anything is possible. I would say to others with disabilities, look around your community, just like you guys said in one of the modules. See what is needed in your community and go for it. Don't be afraid, just go for it.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit SBDCBahamas.com.